Well, for me, being a speaker is a privilege. It's an opportunity to engage people, to have some of people's time and attention. So to me, it's a very honored position, and it's an opportunity to connect in a way that provides energy but also allows me to feel energy. So I'm inspired because it uplifts both audiences as well as me. The number one piece of advice I would give is love your audience. I mean, actually think about who's going to be in the audience, visualize them, stand around in the background, go out and shake hands with them before a speech, get that emotional connection so by the time you get up on stage, you love them. That way their attention, your attention, won't be on yourself. So you don't get nervous, you don't worry about your speech. Your attention is on them, which is where it should be. I like to leave audiences with three things. One of them is ideas. New ways of looking at, thinking about, understanding service. But number two is I need to leave them with some energy. Because service can be the kind of topic where we go, oh, do I have to serve? It's got to be, no, hey, I have an opportunity to do something here that will serve somebody else. So there's ideas and energy. And the third thing is action steps. I want people to see this as practical. I'm more of a practitioner than an academic. I want to know what really works. And I want them to come away from a speech saying, hey, I can do something with this, and I can do it today. Enjoy customizing a talk. And so finding out as much as I can about a client, about their situation, about their objectives, both in terms of the conference theme or the outcomes for that particular meeting, but also what's going on in their industry. Where is their company positioned? What kind of dynamics are they dealing with? I like to sort of soak in that before an event. And then I put my slides together, the slides that I'm going to be using during the actual presentation. I like to do that sort of at the last minute, because I'm actually rehearsing and preparing myself and pulling together the most current ideas, sometimes even including what's happening in the news in the past couple of days, because that's on people's minds. So if I can tie that into what's actually going on in the speech, it makes it that much more valuable. Well, I've been doing work with the microphone since I was young. And in my early years, it was more in the sporting world. So there was one time a very, very large tournament, and I was the MC. So the entire audience is counting on me to communicate with them well about what's going on, but also everybody on the field is counting on me to be able to keep things moving along, and the microphone failed. So the entire sound system, and went out. And so people ran up to me and gave me 2 megaphones. And I literally stood with 2 megaphones in my mouth, talking to the audience, and then I would turn and talk to the stage. But, you do whatever it is you have to do. And that's true at conferences as well. Something could happen, and you've got to be ready and prepared and willing to do what it takes to still make it successful. Be a travel writer. So one of the things I enjoy doing along with speaking is I enjoy writing. And my blog is filled with hundreds of articles, and you can find them all over the internet. And we write specific things at different times for different audiences, but we travel so much, my wife and I, in the course of our work, that we've become very astute observers of the mood of a city, or the service style of a certain nation, or how a certain property or a certain airline or a certain restaurant has done something right or wrong. And I like writing about those stories. I just don't have enough time to do it. But if I was a travel writer, I'd be doing it every day. Island album would be Eva Cassidy. So Eva Cassidy is a female vocalist who had a cancer condition and died a number of years ago before she really hit fame. But there were a bunch of recordings of her. And so one of those recordings got out into an English radio station, and London went nuts. And it just, drove it right up to #1. And then they started looking back to see what else she recorded before she died. And there's a beautiful trove of very gentle, inspiring, uplifting music. The last book I read was The Everything Store, about Jeff Bezos and the story of Amazon.com. But I didn't actually read it, I listened to it. So I have about 6 to 8 books that I'm reading at any one time, in the bathroom, in my office, in my briefcase, etc. But I'm also listening to a number of books, and so whenever I get a few extra moments, I like to listen. George Washington. I'd love to go back in history and have an opportunity to meet with somebody who was so respected by his peers that they said there really wasn't a question who would be the first President of the United States of America. And in fact, he was so respected by his peers that they didn't even want to put in a term limit. They wanted to say, like, you'll be president for life. And he was the one who said, no, it'll be better for the nation if it's a limited period of time. I'd love to go back and listen to his wisdom.